Okay, so now, get in the good Cam mood, okay? I'm going to see if I can, this is not exactly following Sam's formula, but I am intrigued and going to be inspired by Sam's formula. So, did you know that Dr. Maria Nemeth, right here among us, dated Dennis Hopper? Did you know that they won an award for a student film that they made together on motorcycles? And did you know that she also got to see Jimi Hendrix burn her guitar while seated between Mama Cass and Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones? Imagine how all that worked to fast forward mixing techniques to now being a speaker worldwide, bringing clarity, focus, ease, and grace to people's life. Besides being a coach, he's a licensed clinical psychologist. How about that? And finally, I'm trying to think of a technique. Here she is!
Yeah, we did date. We did date, Dennis and I. And, you know, with the story about burning the guitar, a friend of mine said years later, you know, Maria, out of all the people that were just mentioned, you're the only one still alive. So, imagine in this hand a book that never got published. Imagine in this hand a book that got published after, maybe taking me 9 months to write and getting me on the Oprah show. Are you interested in the difference? Okay. First book. I'm 27, 30 years old. I've traveled around the country. I've given all kinds of talks on crisis intervention. I mean, I had the whole thing wired up, wired down, and I was impressing people with my ability to talk about crisis intervention techniques. One day I decided to write the book on crisis intervention, the definitive book. So I'm sitting at my typewriter. In those days, we had typewriters. And all of a sudden, as I'm starting to type, I get a tightness in my chest and my arms get heavy and a thought in my head, you know, I don't think I'm ready to write this book yet. And I walk away. 3 months later, I'm sitting at the typewriter. I want to type this, but as I start typing, my chest gets heavy. My arms, it's like I hear this voice inside that says, you know, you're just not ready yet. You don't have what it takes. Other people could do it much better than you. Now, you've never heard that in your head, so take notes for your cousin, okay? So I didn't write it. Fast forward. True story, 18 months later, I'm walking down Westwood Boulevard near UCLA. I see a flash of red and white in a bookstore. I walk into the bookstore. There are books, Crisis Intervention. I walk up, I open the cover, thinking it's going to be much different than I would have written. Same book, almost literally. I said, well, surely the person had much better credentials than I. I go to the back. He had fewer. There was only one difference. He wrote the book and I didn't. What is it that stops us? Have you ever wondered? You have these great ideas. You have a vision for what it is you want to do in life. And just as you're starting to do something about it, you get this incredible sense of pushback. Well, it's normal. I came to discover years later that it happens to everybody. I used to think I was the only person who ever felt that way as I was going to begin a project. That I was the only person who ever talked myself out of it, who ever had doubts and worries and self-limiting internal conversations. It always happens. It always happens to us when we're at something I call trouble at the border. Now imagine this with me for a moment, and then I'm going to talk about the other book that only took me 8 months to write and got me on the Oprah show, okay? Imagine that there's a line that divides two aspects of reality that we have come here to play in. One is called physical reality. This is the place of people, places, things, books, the program you've always wanted to start, the coaching practice you want to have, the movie you've always wanted to produce. On the bottom is called visionary reality. So we've got physical reality, we have visionary reality. Okay, so far? Visionary reality is the home of our ideas, dreams, and vision. It's what we can imagine. Ooh, this is, you could get high smelling one of these. Excuse me. It takes me back. It takes me back. Excuse me. Wait. Where am I? All right. Sorry. It's the home. It's the home of our ideas, dreams, vision. It's where we get a lot of energy, right? But if we stay in visionary reality too long, we can become very frustrated. You know, we can have this sense that our life is not as fulfilled as we want it to be. Here is physical reality. This is the home of the things you can measure. Once again, that coaching practice you've always wanted to start, the book you've always wanted to write, whatever it is. But as we take, let me see if the next one smells like this. Oh my God, yes. All right. I'm just a happy girl. As we go from visionary reality and we create a goal in physical reality, something that we vision, we love it, we have a sense it's going to make a difference in other people's lives, it has a lot of meaning for us, we hit trouble at the border. Now, trouble at the border occurs because there is a big difference between visionary and physical reality. In physical reality, whatever we want to do takes energy. And there are 6 kinds of energy: money, time, physical vitality, creativity, enjoyment, relationship. 6 forms of energy. Not only that, in physical reality, everything changes. Not only that, in physical reality, change is unpredictable. These are the 3 factors that make for a perfect game. You can put tennis on this, you can put golf. Whatever you want to do takes energy. You have a changing environment, and things are unpredictable. Perfect game. But see, sometimes we forget that we're playing a game, and that it's good to have games, and that goals, these are things that keep us young and keep us engaged in life. But at trouble at the border, the next thing that happens is that it kicks our brain into gear, and we experience something that the Buddhists call monkey mind. Monkey mind stands for that aspect of the mind that is always chattering at us as it swings from doubt to worry and back to doubt again. It's the thing that stands at the gateway to your goals and dreams and says, I would turn back if I were you. That's why I give it a little tail here. How do we go past trouble at the border with ease without tearing our hair out? Given that whatever we want to do is going to take energy, we've got change, unpredictable. Well, this is my second book. This is how my second book happened. The book that I actually wrote. I had 3 girlfriends. because I was going to use the energy of support. That's that sixth energy I told you about. Money, time, physical vitality, creativity, enjoyment, support. I had 3 girlfriends, and they promised to call me one at a time, take turns, 7:30 every morning, writing my book. My promise was I was going to write 3 pages a day. Now, I told all of my girlfriends, this is what my likely monkey mind symptoms are going to look like. I'm going to complain, I'm going to whine, I'm going to say, you know, I can't do it, whatever. So you have to warn your friends about what your monkey mind is going to be saying. But this was their job. Every morning, one of them would call me at 7:30. They'd say, Maria, are you sitting in front of your computer? I'd say, yes. They'd say, is it turned on? I'd say, yes. They'd say, how many pages are you going to write today? Now, my answer was always 3 pages a day, except when I got into trouble at the border. One day, I was writing a chapter, and I didn't know how to get in it, and all of a sudden, my chest got tight again and my arms got heavy again, and I just started hearing all this stuff in my mind. And my girlfriend, one of them, called me and she said, Maria, are you sitting in front of your computer? I said, yes. She said, is it turned on? I said, yes. She said, how many pages are you going to write today? And all of a sudden, I found myself saying, I can't do it. This is terrible. My life is passing me by. I don't want to write this book. No one is going to like it. And I'm crying. I mean, it's really a snot fest. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm really into it. And there's this little pause at the other end of the line. She says, I hear you, Maria. And how many pages are you going to write today? Because you see, she went into alignment with my goal and my dream. She didn't go into collusion with my monkey mind. You see, we need people who can see past those self-limiting inner conversations that we all have. And sure enough, I wrote those 3 pages that day. Now, 3 pages a day times 3.5 months is a manuscript. I did it. But as a girlfriend of mine, Patricia, said, I did it myself, but I wasn't alone. You see? So, let me suggest how to go past trouble at the border with ease. Number 1, make small promises. Don't make huge promises. Don't say, I'm going to write 10 pages. Because, you know, if you make big promises and you don't keep them at the border, it's a disincentive, you know. And besides, at the border, it often takes 10 times more energy to produce 1 unit of result than you thought it would. Think of like a rocket ship blasting off from the launch pad. It burns 90% of its fuel in the first 3.5 minutes of takeoff, doesn't it? And so it is with us. At the beginning of a project, promise small. The second thing, acknowledge the smallest results. Even if I didn't write those 3 pages, let's say I wrote 1.5 pages a day, my girlfriends would always acknowledge me for being at the border, for having this dream, and going for this goal. Third, get support. Don't do it alone. And I promise you, you will go past your personal trouble at the border with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. Clarity, you're clear about what's important to you. Focus, you're focusing your energy on what you truly want. Ease, you're making small promises and keeping them. And finally, grace, you develop a sense of gratitude for simply being on the journey. So thank you.
Take a bow. Let's take a bow together. I didn't do anything. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. So, yes.
I just want to know the name of the book.
Yes, the name of the book. Well, we're going to have clarifying questions now. Clarifying question number 1.
Clarifying.
What's the name of the book?
It's called The Energy of Money.
How did you get on Oprah?
I got on Oprah because someone called me and said, Dr. Nemeth, this is Amy Coleman on the Oprah show. I said, yeah, who is it really? You know, like I thought it was one of my girlfriends. She said, no. I thought, she said, you know, we were looking for a spiritual book on money. We looked at Amazon.com. We saw it, your Energy of Money. We read it. We'd love to have you on the show. Can you be there in 72 hours? And my monkey mind was saying, you can't do this. This is not going to work. I shifted the focus of my attention to the receiver. And I said to her, I'll be there. Thanks. And that's what happened. Listen, do you ever talk yourself out of your dreams? So.
We have a microphone in the back. We have a couple of questions. Oh, that was just, yes, I talked myself out of my dreams. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. It was really inspiring.
Thanks.
My question is, what's the role of coaching here? Because I heard the support of your girlfriends, but I could imagine coaching would be that support or not.
That's a brilliant question. Yes, coaching is absolutely, coaching exists. I mean, really, doesn't all of life and engagement exist right about here for people where they're wanting to do something that has real imagination, has real energy for them? And a coach is someone who supports people to attain their goals, who can hold their vision for them, especially when they're at the border and cannot hold it for themselves. And so a coach is someone who will say, you know what, we're going to take this in small, easy steps, and we're going to get you there. I'm a coach for some people who write books now, and we start out sometimes with 2 paragraphs a day for 2 weeks. And then we go up to a page, 2 pages. Then we hold it at 3 pages. 3 pages a day are 3 books a year.
Other questions? Jay's in the front.
I was just wondering about the other direction. I was just I'm imagining this of when it gets so caught up in the physical world and I have trouble getting back to the visionary side of the border. Do you also imagine it that way?
Yes, and because I imagined it that way, about 20 years ago, developed an instrument that I've now given to about 100,000 people. It's called the Life's Intentions Inventory. And whether you even look at the inventory or not, life's intention is a direction, aim, or purpose that gives your life a sense of meaning. To be a contributor to my community. I mean, for me, the whole reason I'm doing this today, this is my goal, was to be here with you. And Laura knows that. I mean, this is a huge goal for me, to be talking in front of you. My life's intention is to be a contributor to my community. And we have many life's intentions: to be financially successful, to be a loving parent, to be physically fit and healthy, to be an adventurer. When you can articulate what your purpose is for having done it, and you're at the border, you can either remember it for yourself or have a coach remember it for you. Oh, that's why I'm doing it. Okay, let's keep going. Is that?
I guess it's actually the other thing for me, is that you can get caught up in the doing, so you're keeping going, but I lose the sense of meaning.
Yes, which is
So
why,
it's
yeah,
getting-
which is
it's
why,
getting back to the other
exactly,
side.
which is why a coach is someone who reminds you of the meaning. You see? Because if you see what the meaning is for you, for even doing something, and you can articulate it to someone, and you say to them, look, when I'm at the border and I'm just doing, would you remind me of why I'm doing this stuff so I can go ahead?
I think I must be doing a bad job of asking the question, because what I'm actually thinking is there a time to just get out of the physical world, get back to the other place, and is that border crossing, I guess it's my experience, that sometimes it's as difficult to cross the border in the other direction, to dwell in the visionary place. Not like the visionary place only exists so that I can get to the physical world, but that it's another real place I can dwell.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yes. No, it's an important place to dwell. I'm just talking about when you are called to do something then, with that vision that has engaged you. How do you go about actually doing something? And that's what I'm addressing here. But absolutely, if however, you and I are made to take whatever's here and put it here.
I'm going to take the mic as a participant, if I may, to Jay. The whole time you were asking the question, Jay, I got a mic. It made me think of why people have weddings. Because I didn't want my parents to spend that money on a wedding. And my mother would say, no, you need to have a wedding, so that every day that you're caught in the doing of changing diapers, paying for school, yelling at each other because you didn't take the garbage out, you think back to that vision of what happened on that day and how you felt on that day, and do you want to recommit to that day? So that's just what occurred to me while you were speaking, if it helps at all to hold, to get out of the doing and back to the vision. I don't know. I just wanted to offer that. Rituals,
and they drop you back into that sense of meaning. Because there's another thing. Sogyal Rinpoche, who wrote the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, he said, sometimes, there are two kinds of laziness, he says there's active laziness and passive laziness. He said, in my country, we have passive laziness. This is India. We sit around and drink tea and listen to the soap operas. He said, but in your country, you have active laziness. It's filling your life with so much activity that you don't ask yourself the questions that have real meaning for you. He says it's like your lives are like flies buzzing around on a hot summer night. There's a lot of noise and movement, but no sense of direction.
DJ?
There's so much I want to say to you. I have a copy of your book that's dog-eared and highlighted. And Maria, I know you've been in our community for a long time, and I just never made the connection of you in the book. And, so one of the things that's occurring to me right now is just a deep sense of appreciation for what's in this room, the talent that's in this room, and the amazing gratitude, Babette and Donna and Guy, for bringing us all together and really creating this community, because it's really special. But around the time that you released this book, because this is in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
That you released this.
Yeah.
I probably saw you on Oprah. I probably have seen you at the Sophia Institute in Charleston. Haven't you spoken there? Maybe not.
I think
sometime. Probably. But yes, you were there energetically.
Okay, good.
Okay. So, but something you did for me as I was releasing a friend into the wild and watching her leave, was to remind me of the intention. And what came to me was your job really is to love the people I put in front of you. Basically, that was the message coming to me. Just love the people I put in front of you. And that was a reminder. It crystallized that for me when I read your book.
Fabulous.
So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Hey there, Maria.
Hey.
I'm a ex-student and a certified coach through Maria's program, so I encourage you to go look at her site. I have a question around what you said to me earlier today about my trouble at the border. One of them, there's more than one sometimes, not for y'all, but for me. One of them is you second guess yourself.
Yeah.
So that would be a hint. It just hit me that my 1 or 2 or 3 friends that are local in Houston, get them to recognize that for me. Is that correct? To have them support me past that?
Absolutely. You know, and see, sometimes when we say something to our friends, especially when we're at the border, they don't know how to support us, except if we can let them know, like coach them, these are the likely monkey mind conversations I'm going to come up with. You know, my showstoppers. This is what I say to myself. And if you ever hear me saying that to you, you'll know I'm at trouble at the border. And please have me re-look at my basic commitment that even put me on the journey, so that I can find myself again because of your support. Because when we're at trouble at the border, it's real. And we do talk ourselves out of our goals and dreams, yes? And that's what we need each other for. This is one of the reasons I so love this meeting, because here is a community of support where we have the possibility of knowing who each other really is. And I can hold your dream for you, and you can hold my dream for me. And then we all rise. We all rise together.
Another question? So I'd like to know...
Somebody
Oh, we
over here.
do? Okay, great. Mike Runner. Thanks, Diane.
Hi, Maria. Thank you so much. Well, I talked to you yesterday and was talking about my own stuckness, and I actually teach people about the percentage of the monkey mind that's running, what percentage it is, because I've been researching that for 13 years now. And when I ask the general public, they say that monkey mind is running 99.9% of the time. So it's no small thing to get past that, especially as we move towards our dreams. The thing, though, you remind me of that I so don't do for myself, and I know better. Like, how many of you know better? But one, to acknowledge the small things. Because I ask myself and others for big things, right? But sometimes it is just the 3 pages or the 2 paragraphs or sitting down at that computer and not moving for 3 hours. And also the thing I will take with me is grace. Yes. Like to just really keep being gracious with myself for the things that I do. Because when I don't do that, then whatever I'm doing is certainly not enough.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the monkey mind.
It is. And you know, those of you who know neurophysiology, you know that this here, monkey mind, is probably a part of the amygdala, right? Which at the border goes into fight, flight, or freeze. And the minute you have an amygdala kind of conversation, it literally hijacks your frontal lobes. And there's no chance for creative thought. So part of being grateful is to take a deep breath, appreciate the journey you're on, appreciate the journey your client is on, and in that deep appreciation and gratitude, one of the things that comes back online is the creative thought. And you begin to move past the border with clarity, focus, ease, and grace.
I wonder if... Oh, Nemeth. Great. Ooh, I can't stand in front of the thing. There we go.
So, Maria, we had a moment or two yesterday, and I'm forever grateful. And what I'm noticing is, so we've worked through round the border, got through the flies, and here you are. You've written the book. You've had the interview with Oprah. And so what? Yeah. So we arrived there. So I'm just curious, what shifted in you? Tom Cruise, jumped on the couch. I don't know exactly. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me say something about that. I'm working on my next book. All right. Now, I used to think that once I recognized this and worked on myself enough, that I would never have to experience the border again. right? Yes, yes, yes. No, 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 no. I have a book, and now I'm asking for support because it's the same thing. Really, the minute I think that I have it all handled, hear what I'm saying? No, it's wonderful because it keeps us engaged. It keeps us engaged. So, trouble at the border is always there, and that's why we need one another, and that's why it's important to be generous with ourselves and others. When we have self-limiting internal conversations, I want to say one more thing to leave you with today. Therefore, it could be said that your self-limiting internal conversations are a sign that you're doing something right and not something wrong. It's a sign that you are stretching the envelope. You are learning a new skill set. You are doing something you haven't done before. I mean, when you and I are at the movies, at our favorite movie, no monkey mind. When we're doing this, monkey mind. So honor that it's possibly something you're doing right.
Thank you. I did not forget what hair. And thank you, DJ, for saying what you said. I was feeling that I really want to acknowledge that in this room, there are people who live incredible lives, do incredible things. It's not just who is on the stage. So I'm grateful that we're doing Cam Talks this year so we can experience each other even deeper. So thank you, Maria.